Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ghanesham Chavan. I welcome you all in my YouTube channel. This is the another session of Human Anatomy and Physiology. In this, we are here going to discuss the another topic. It is called joints. So as we know, what is joints? So students, without joints, we cannot move our body. We cannot run. We cannot walk. We cannot stand on your legs. So for each and every bones, they are connected with the joints. There are several types of joints that we will discuss here. But before discussing that, we should know what is joints. Joints is nothing but the articulation between two or more bones. There are almost more than 230 joints which are available into our body. There are 206 bones, so joints are more. So without their joining, we cannot move. So the some joints are movable, some joints are immovable. So for our movement, so that movable joints should work their function properly. So their functioning is very important here for to do the movement, to do the walking, to do the running, to holding any position, as we have discussed in last lecture regarding muscles. So joints are also important for the functioning of that muscles. And if any problem is there in a joints, so various diseases will arise. For example, arthritis. What is arthritis? Arth means joints and tis means inflammation. When there is inflammation of our joint is there, it is called arthritis. So like the arthritis, various diseases are there. For example, osteoarthritis or spondylitis, or like that various diseases are there which are regarding with this arthritis, regarding with these joints. There also another word, it is called arthralgia. Arthra means joints and that gia means pain. When there is pain in your joints, it is called arthralgia. So that disease also we will discuss shortly. Joints. So joints are nothing but the articulation. Here you can see this is the joint of femur, this is the joint of tibia. So there is a articulation, means there is a connection between two bones, and the connection occurs with the help of some ligaments. Ligaments are nothing but the connective tissue. They are connecting between two joints. So it is a junction between two or more bones. Either two bones or more bones will be there. With the exceptions of hyoid bone, every bone in the body is connected to the forms a joint. So there are 230 joints available in our body. So the number is also too much. Definition: a joint is a location at which two or more bones are make contact. They are constructed to allow movement and provide mechanical support, and are classified structurally as well as functionally. The structural classification is determined by how bones connect to each other, how the bones are connecting with each other, while functional classification is determined by degree of movement between the articulation of bones, means how functionally we are working. So accordingly that joints will be classified. Now the joint functions. Now that we will discuss what are the various functions of joints. They hold the skeletal bones, means the number of bones, 206 bones are there. So they are holding all the bones in one stature. So that's why we are having the substructure. So we are carrying the structure in a single unit. So we cannot say that that humerus will go forward, after that it will followed by the femur, and after that the thoracic cage will come. So no, all bones are connected with the joints, so they all are in one group. So they allow the skeletal bone flexibility, so grow movement can occur. We are having also flexibility. Some bones are having more flexibility, some joints are having less flexibility. So they are giving the flexibility to our bones to do their movement. For example, our neck movement, so we can do a neck movement from right to left, or from upper side to the lower side. So in almost 180 degree we can move our neck. like the various bones like that finger bones or the bones of our elbow, bones of our knees. So we can move according to their flexibility. So flexibility can be provided by our joints to our bones. That can be decreased after some certain ages, but when you are adult, when you are at young age, so at that time we are having lots of flexibility, and that flexibility can be increased by doing the yoga or aerobics, or by doing the various classes for Olympic also. You might be aware of that. These people mostly from the Russia or US, so they are having lots of flexibility into their bones, into their joints, so they can move their body. In yoga also, you can widen, you can stretch your both the legs in one line, so that type of flexibility can be there. Or you can hold back your hands to the back side, and you can you can join your both the palms at back side also, so that is a flexibility. And in in the Olympic also, the lots of gold medals or lots of medals are can be win due to the flexibility. So there are certain types of competitions there where you can get involved into that. Next, make bone growth possible. So due to these joints, they are making growth possible. They are providing the space, they are providing the area to having the growth of that bones. And as you know, there are lots of bones. Earlier they are the cartilaginous bone, and after that, after their complete growth, they are developing into the bones. Means that cartilage are replaced by the bone. So that's why in case of kids or in case of the children, so they are having more than 206 bones, and out of the maximum bones are the cartilaginous bones. And after a few years, when they are attaining puberty or after puberty, so all the cartilaginous bones are get converted into the bones. Classification of joints. Now in this classification of joints, it can be classified into major three categories. One is fibrous, after that cartilaginous bones, and third is synovial joints. So in that, first is fibrous joints. It is a fixed joint, means this joint cannot move, it is immovable joint. This is slightly movable, you can do its movement very slightly, not too much. And this is the free movable, you can do its movement almost 90 degree, 180 degree, or according to their location and their feasibility. So in the fixed joint, the fibrous joint, they are having the three types. Again, in the first is suture. What is suture? It is a connective or connection between the two lobes in your cranium, in your skull. So in that, sutures are having five types: plain suture, squamous, serrated suture, dented suture, and the scintillations sutures. So these are five types of sutures. Next is gomphosis, and C is syndemphosis. In this manner, three types are there in fixed. Second is cartilaginous joint. It is slightly movable. In that, again, there are two types. One is primary cartilaginous joints. It is also called as conchodrosis, and second is secondary cartilaginous joints. It is also called as symphysis. And third and the main category is, it is called synovial joint. It is freely movable, and it is also having the seven types: plain joint, hinge joint, pivot joint, bicondylar joint, ellipsoid joints, saddle joints, and ball and socket joints. Now we will discuss one by one. Now in the structural classification, fibrous or immovable joints. This is the first class. So the fibrous or immovable joints are connected by dense connective tissue. It is a major element which is available into this joint, and they are consisting mainly of collagen. Collagen fibers are also available here. The fibrous joints are further divided into three types. One is cartilaginous joints. The cartilaginous joints are connected entirely by the cartilage. The cartilage material is there, which is flexible, and the cartilaginous joints allow more movement between bone than fibrous joints, but less than the highly movable synovial joints. Synovial joints. The synovial joints have a space between articulating bones. It is called synovial fluid. This classification contains joints that are most mobile of the three. Means out of all these three classes, this is the most flexible joint, more mobile joints, and it includes knee and shoulder joints. Now we will start from the first class. It is called fibrous joints. So they contain the sutures, and it is also called as synoptosis. They are found between the bones of skull. So in the skull there are various lobes are available. For example, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobes. So these lobes are well connected with these sutures. The sutures are made of the cartilaginous materials. So see this, and they are very firm, and we cannot move that sutures. Sutures are nothing but the as we are seeing here, the various cement roads has been developed by our central government. Various cement roads, they are having size of almost of 10 feet, not 10 feet, it is 10 inch of size or more than that, and these roads are very firm, they are lifelong. But if you will see, the roads can be cut from the middle, and in between them they are filling the silicon, black colored liquid silicon, they are filling them. Why they are filling and why they are cutting? They are just like, or they are work as a sutures, so for avoiding the shocks. Because though that cement roads, though that roads are very strong, but they can break because they becomes fragile after few years. They are very hard, but they are, the sutures or their dividation or that silicon are giving them space to move, giving the space for flexibility. That's why, because once the road will completed, what they are doing, they are cutting that roads and they are filling the silicon in between them. So that, like that, the sutures are also there. So we cannot remove that sutures and we cannot open that lobes. Only in case of surgery they are doing, but otherwise it is just impossible to do that. So they are found in between the bones of skull. In fetal skull, the sutures are wide to allow slight movement during the birth. So in the childhood it is slight movement because the cartilaginous materials are there, and this cartilage it doesn't become hardened. It will become hardened after the age of adulthood. After adulthood it becomes very hard. It is a dense fibrous connective tissue, and if you will see, they are firmly stuck together. Both the ends are close together. So they are wide allowed to slight movement during the birth, and they later becomes rigid, and it is called as synarthrodial. So after the adulthood they becomes very rigid, very firm. It is just impossible to move. Now here there are various types of sutures that I would like to discuss with you. In that, first is plain suture. This is the plain suture. They are the plain plates, they are holding together. It is a pericranium and this is the endocranium. So these are hold together. This is the sutural ligament. The ligament is providing the connective link between these both the lobes. This is the skull bone. So in this fashion they are connecting. Next is serrate suture. They are thorn-like structures. Serrate structures are there. They are interparietal, means between the parietal lobes we are having such types of sutures. Next is squamous suture. It is in between the temporal and parietal lobe. So the parietal lobe and temporal lobe we are having this squamous suture. It is tilted and cross line like sutures are there. So they are connecting both the sutures. They are complementary to each other. whatever sutures you will see, this one, this one, this one, this one, so they are complementary to each other, so they are fixing in the shape of each other. Next is tibiofibular syndesmosis. So this is also another type of suture. So it can be connect that tibia with the fibula, and it is a fixed, no any movement will occur, only they can move when they are getting the rotation, or they are getting the some movements. In that case only they can move, otherwise it is just impossible to move. Next is denticulate suture. It is the dent like, means the teeth like sutures. They are having tooth like shape, and they are fixed with the structures of each other. So one pin will fix into the socket of others, like that they are fixing. It is the Lambert, it is also called as Lambert suture. Next is the syndesmosis. Here is the ala of humor. It is a humor bone, so it can be fixed with the groove of this rostrum of sphenoid. This is the ethmoid bone, so it can be that fixed into the groove of that humor bone, and it is the wedge and groove suture. It is a type of wedge and groove suture, means the groove are fixed into the wedges. So like that the fix and groove sutures is there. Next is gomphosis. It is a peg and socket joint. Here the fibrous tissue are there. It is an example of teeth or tooth, where it can be fixed into our gums. Fibrous joints. It is a second type of joints. It is called as syndesmosis, and are joint where two adjacent bones are linked together by considerable greater amount of connective tissue than in sutures, in the form of interosseous ligaments and the membranes. For example, interosseous radioocular joints or interosseous thiofibular joints. So here you can see, this is the thiofibular joints, where this your tibia will connect with your fibula. So this is joint, it is almost immovable joints. So the ligament is there which is connecting the tibia with fibula. So in this fashion it is an example of syndesmosis. It is a fibrous joints. Next is gymphosis. It is a specialized fibrous joint which restrict to fixation of teeth into the alveolar socket. This is the alveolar socket of gums, where the tooth can be fixed. It is just immovable joints. When it will start to move, means your joint become loose. In that case, either you have to do operation, or we have to remove that tooth, or we have to do the root canal, or we have to remove if the root teeth has been damaged. In that case we have to replace by the artificial tooth. So the fixation has been occur in the alveolar socket of the maxilla of mandible. The root of tooth is attached to the socket with the alveolus by periodontal ligament. So periodontal ligament is there, that ligament is supplied with that alveolus, and it hold that tooth together, and which won't allow that tooth to come out. Next is cartilaginous joints. This is the second class. So cartilaginous joints are those joints in which the bones forming joints are united by means of either hyaline cartilage or fibrocartilage. The cartilaginous joints also lack the joint cavity. So in the cartilaginous joints the cavity is there, so that cavity can be filled by these cartilages. There are two types of cartilaginous joints. First, primary joints, and second is secondary joints. Now we will discuss regarding the primary joints. The primary joints are known as the synchodroses. They are the bone forming joints are connected by the plates of hyaline cartilage. So here you can see the hylar cartilage has been connected with this joint. These joints are immovable and mostly temporary in nature. They are temporary in nature. This cartilage may ossify with age. Means in the childhood, when at the age of from the child birth to the age of 10 or 12, up to that age, these are made of the cartilage. They are very flexible, but after that hyaline cartilage can be replaced by the bones, means it becomes very hard. So here you can see this is the sternum, that manubrium part is connected with the ribs. So it is joint between the rib and the sternum. It is a immovable joints. Again with the sternum with the our ribs. So here it is a joint. That blue colored part, it is a joint, and that joint is called as synchodroses. Here you can see. Another example of human are joint between ribs and the manubrium of the sternum. So again into the ribs and the manubrium of the sternum that we have discussed in last slide. Again the joint between the epiphysis and the diaphysis of the growing long bone. So again in the case of humerus, or in case of the femur, or in case of the tibia fibula, we are having the three types or three parts into our long bone. For example, there is the epiphysis, which is the border area or last area of our or superficial area of our long bone. There is the diaphysis, it is the middle area, and the metaphysis. So it is a connective link between the epiphysis and this metaphysis. And here is the epiphyseal plate is there. So this joint is nothing but the epiphyseal plate, and that epiphyseal plate is providing the area for the growth of your bone. So if this epiphyseal plate will be closed, when it will close, when our complete growth will occur. So at the adult age, up to the adult age, it will work as a epiphyseal plate, and it is made up of the hyaline cartilage. And once it will fuse, once it will close, once it will the growth will stop, means it will get converted or it is replaced by the bone. Means hyaline cartilage of this epiphyseal plate will be replaced by the bone. Means your growth will be fused, your growth will be retarded. So why it retard? Because due to the closing of this epiphyseal plate, means it won't give area, it won't provide the area for development, for the growth of this bone, and it occurs due to the release of your hormones like testosterone and the estrogen. These hormones are responsible for fusing of this epiphyseal plate. Cartilaginous joints, secondary cartilaginous joints, they are known as the symphyses. In these joints, the articular surfaces of bones forming the joints are covered by thin plates of hyaline cartilage, which are connected by the disc of fibrocartilage. So here also you can see this is the disc of fibrocartilage. They are the intervertebral disc, and the discs are providing the cushion-like structure in between two vertebrae, and they are absorbing the shocks. These discs are absorbing the shocks by which our vertebra can't damage. Here you can see at this side, this is the joint of secondary cartilaginous joints. It is named of the symphysis. Another example of symphysis is pubic symphysis. So at that place also we are finding that joint at pubic symphysis. And intervertebral disc and the manubriosternal joint. What is manubriosternal joint? This is the joint. This is the manubrium and the sternal body of your sternum. So it is a joint between the manubrium of sternum and the body of sternum. It is in between that. It is called manubriosternal joint. And next is symphysis menti. What is symphysis menti? Symphysis menti is nothing but it is a joint between the lower jaw. When this mandible is having the joint from the center axis, from this place, it has been connected, and that connection is called symphysis menti, and this is the joint between the lower jaw, this mandible bone. Now synovial joint. So this joint possesses a cavity and the articular ends of bones forming the joints are enclosed in a fibrous capsule. As a result, they are separated by a narrow cavity, the articular cavity, which is filled with the fluid called synovial fluid. So these synovial joints are having the major point, it is called synovial fluid. So it is just like the grease, that grease we are filling into the machineries, our machines. What that grease is doing? It is just avoiding the friction between the parts of our machines. So like that, this synovial synovial fluid will work as a grease oil, lubricant oil. It provides the lubrication to our bones, and it's avoid the friction between the two bones. So synovial joints fluid is like the egg albumin, and hence name synovial joints. It is a viscous substance, and it provides the strength to our joints, because the synovial joints will increase the life of your joints, and after the old age, the fluid content, their viscosity can be affected. The fluid can be dried out after the age of 60 or more than that. So in that condition, the condition or the disease like, or the problem like arthritis will arise when we are having problem into our synovial fluid. So because due to the synovial fluid, no friction will be there, and if there is no friction, means no inflammation of bone will be there, and if no inflammation, means no arthritis. So due to that, the synovial fluid will play a great role into our synovial joint. Characteristics of features. So the articular surfaces are covered by a thin plate of hyaline cartilage. So here you can see the thin plate of hyaline cartilage is there. The joint cavity is enveloped by the articular capsule, which consists of outer fibrous capsule and the inner synovial membrane. Here you can see this is the fibrous capsule, this one, this is the synovial membrane, this is the articular cartilage, the cartilage which is doing the articulation between two bones. So it is the superficial part of the bone which is at that cartilage is going to be attached. It is a working cartilage, and it is a joint cavity contains synovial fluid. So here at the black part you can see the synovial fluid will be embedded. It will available into this cavity. The cavity of joint is lined everywhere by the synovial membrane except over articular cartilage. Means it is available all over that area, all over that cavity except articular cartilage. The cavity is filled with the synovial fluid secreted by the synovial membrane, which provides nutrition to the articular cartilage. Means it keep live our articular cartilage, and it's give its nourishment to grow normally, and the lubrication of the articular cartilage surfaces. If the articular cartilage will be damaged, means it will provide the friction, it will enhance the process of friction development, and due to which the arthritis may develop. Other joint cavity, some joint cavity completely or incompletely divided by articular disc or menisci. There are several types of synovial joints are there. Again, before that, I have to discuss with you what are the various important things of synovial fluid. That it also takes the shocks whatever running, whatever work we are doing, it gives strength to our bones. It absorbs the shocks from the joints, and also it do the process of immunity buildup. Means it do the process of phagocytosis. It kill the bacteria, viruses which may arise into your cavity. So in this fashion it is having several functions. It lubricates your bones, and also it strengthen your joint. It gives life to your joints. Now there are various types of synovial joints that are available here. In that, first is plane joint, hinge joint, pivot joints, condylar joints, it is also called as condylar joints, ellipsoid joints, saddle joints, and last is ball and socket joints. Now we will discuss one by one all the joints. In that, first is plane joints. Articular surfaces are more or less flat. They are permit gliding movements in the various directions. Means they are doing the gliding movements. For example, intercarpal joints. So the joints between the carpals. So there are 8 carpals available into our wrist. So into them their movements has been occurred. The intratarsals. So the 7 tarsals are available into our ankle. So in that it is provide the space, it provide the movement of that intratarsal joints. So it's between the articular processes of adjacent vertebra also. It is having that plane joints. Here these are the examples of plane joints. Here you can see, here it is the intracarpals, after that intratarsals. So these are the non-axial, uniaxial, biaxial, and the multi-axial. According to the axials, the various joints are there. So in this fashion they are available in between the carpals. Intracarpal joint is there, and intratarsal joints. Here you can see. So not too much area is provided for allowing the movement. Only few movements we can do, like this, the wrist joint, they are allowing very less movements. Now hinge joint. It is a joint of articular surfaces are pulley shaped. So this type of joint permits movement of one plane around transverse action. So it is allowing to do the movement into the one direction, into the transverse actions. Means it is providing the movement, for example, flexion and extension. So what is flexion and extension? So flexion is nothing but the when we are decreasing the angle between two bones. For example, our leg, when you are decreasing the angle between two bones, and extension when you are increasing the angle, when you are straightening out our bone, it is called extension. And when we are holding both the bones, when we are coming closer to both the bones, so it is nothing but the flexion. So that type of bones or that type of joint, it's called as hinge joint. And that hinge joint is available into our elbow joint and our knee joints. So these joints have strong collateral ligaments. Here you can see these are strong collateral ligaments to prevent the other movements. There is only one movement, only in one direction they will move, here and here, like this. This one like this. So only at the right and left. Sometimes, for example, in knee joint, it will move only in upward, only in at backward direction and straight, backward and straight. So it won't move beyond its limits. So in case of ulna and humerus also, for example, so this ulna will move only in upward direction, not at the backward directions. So in this fashion it is having only one angle of movements. So there are the two examples, for example, elbow joints and the knee joints, and interphalangeal joints are also, for example, these joints. So the phalanges also move only in one direction. They won't move at the back side, they will move only at the anterior position. Hinge joint, here you can see this is the elbow joint, so which will move forward, and so they will move into 180 degree. This is the angle of 180 degree, so they can move in these directions. Also the knee joint will move into along the 180 degree Celsius. Pivot joints, the articular surface of one bone is rounded and fits into concavity of another bone. So one bone will fix into the concavity of the another bone. It is called as pivot joints. Now for example, joint between radius and ulna. So further rounded part is surrounded by a ligament ring, and movement is limited to the rotation around the central axis. The example of this type of joint is joint between the proximal ends of radius ulna. It is a atlantoaxial joints. So at the proximal end of your radius and ulna, where these are get connected, so it is called pivot joints. So here when our ulna is get connected with the humerus, at that point this ulna is simultaneously connected with the radius as well, and this joint is called as pivot joint. Here you can see this is the joint between radius and ulna. So when one concave place is going to be fixed into the convex of others. Here the condylar or condylate joints. This around articular surface of one bone fits into the socket type articular surface of another bone. The end of bone bearing round articular surface is called condylate. This joint permits movement of two directions, for example right and left temporomandibular joints and knee joints. So here this is the joint which will work. So it is provided the two direction, upper and lower. Only in this direction it will move. This is example of condylate joints. Ellipsoid joints. Elliptical convex surface of one bone articulates with the elliptical concave surface of another bone. The movement are permitted into two directions. For example, wrist joint, atlanto-occipital joints, metallocarpophalangeal joints, metallotarsophalangeal joints. So they are the examples of the ellipsoid joints. Just a minute. Okay, so in this fashion we have discussed this ellipsoid joint. Now here it is biaxial convex surface of one articulates with the elliptical concave surface of other. So in this fashion it is just pestle and mortar like that. So one convex surface will get fixed into the concave surface of other. For example, radiocarpal joints, atlanto-occipital joints, metatarsophalangeal joints. Means metatarsal and phalanges, they are forming these joints. So atlanto-occipital joints and radiocarpal means your radius and our carpals are forming these joints. Next is metacarpophalangeal joints. So metatarsal are producing joints with the phalanges, and the metacarpals are also producing joints. Mean this metacarpals are producing joints between our phalanges, these phalanges. So these joints, when our metacarpals are producing joints between our phalanges, so these joints. So these are the examples of the ellipsoid joints. Saddle joints. Saddle joints, it is the articular surfaces are reciprocally saddle shaped. For example, concave, convex. This unique articulation is modified condylate joints that allows a wide range of movement. For example, an example would be the joint between the trapezium and the metacarpal bone of the thumb. And another example is sternoclavicular joints. When the sternum will join with our clavicles, so that is also another example of our saddle joint. And here this is the trapezium. It is one type of carpals. So that trapezium will join with our thumb joint, with our thumb bone. So that typical joint is called as saddle joint. And also in case of the sternum, when your sternum will forming joint between our clavicles, so it is also another type of saddle joints. Here you can see, here the sternum will produce the joint between the clavicle, sternum and clavicle, and here the joint between this thumb and your this trapezium bone. Now ball and socket joint. It is a most freely joint of all the joints. It is a master of all the joints. It consists of bone with a ball-shaped head. It is having the ball-shaped head, ball-shaped convex head that attaches with the cup-shaped cavity. So that ball-shaped head will fix into the cup-shaped cavity of another bone. This type of joint allows for the wider range of motion than the other kind. So it is very freely movable joints, and it permits movement in all the planes. It means all the directions, right, left, after that upper, lower, in all the 4 directions you can move, and rotational movement around a axis. Also you can do the rotation around that axis. 2 examples of this type of bones would be hip joint, the joint between femur and your pelvic cavity, hip joint, and another is the intra-incudostapedial joints, and the shoulder joint, the joint between our humerus and our scapula, that's shoulder joint, because scapula is providing the socket like cup like structure, round cap cup socket like structure, and our humerus is having the round ball like structure. So that completely fixed into the socket of that scapula. Here also in the acetabulum of our pelvis, the head of the femur is fixed, that ball shaped fix going to be fixed completely, and due to which it produces the ball and socket joints. So it is having angle of rotation in all the directions. Here you can see, this is the ball and socket. It is a scapula. It is joint between scapula, cup of scapula, socket of scapula, and the ball of the humerus. In this fashion, it will fix. Means one convex part will fix into the concave part of the other. So it is the attachment of the or articulation of the bones. Functional classification: synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, and the diarthrosis. Synarthrosis, it permits little or no mobility, and most synarthrosis joints are fibrous joints. For example, cranial sutures in the adults. Next is amphiarthrosis. They permits slightly mobility, and 2 bone surfaces at the joints are both covered by the hyaline cartilage and joined by the strand of fibrocartilage. For example, secondary cartilaginous joints. And third class is diarthrosis. It permits the widely movements. Only synovial joints are the diarthrodial. Classification according to the number of articulation bones. Simple joints, 2 articulation surfaces, for example shoulder joint and hip joints. Compound joint, 3 or more articulation surfaces, for example radiocarpal joints, means radius, ulna and carpals, they are connected. 3 or more joints will connected. Complex joints, 3 or more articulation surfaces and an articular disc or meniscus, for example knee joints. Here you will find the joint between the tibia, fibula, patella and the femur. So more than 3 bones are connected. Now the terms relating to the joint movements, for example extension. So increasing the angle in the anatomical position, everything is extended. Hyper extension, to increase the angle beyond the anatomical position. Flexion, when you are decreasing the angle, for example when we are moving our leg and they are moving towards our buttocks, so it is called flexion, means you are decreasing the angle. Plantar flexion to the point of toe. Dorsiflexion, push the toe up when you are moving the toes upside, or when you are moving our palm at upper level, so it is called dorsiflexion. Abduction, when we are moving the limb away from the trunk, so it is called abduction of the body. So when we are moving our hand, away from our body, away from our midline, so it is called abduction, means we are raising our hand from the body position towards the away from our body. Adduction, when you are keeping our hand up to our normal position, when you are moving, when you are touching our body, so moving a climb toward the trunk of the body. When you are towards our body, when you are moving our hand, where we are moving our palms. Same thing when your legs are keeping at the normal position, when you are moving leg away from our body, away from the angle of our body, it is called abduction. And when you are moving, keeping away, keeping that leg to the normal position, when you are standing, it is called adduction. Rotation, movement of the bone around the axis. Circumduction, circular movement of the distal end of the limb. Supination, a palm in the anatomical positions. Palms are forward. So when these palms are moving forward position, this one called as supination. And pronation, when the palms moves backward like this, so it is called pronation. Same thing we can do with the help of the legs also. Inversion, turning the sole of foot inwards. So our foot, when we are moving the inward position, it is called inversion. And eversion, when the sole of the foot will move outward, so it is called eversion. Now parts of the joints: A, fibrous capsule; B, reinforcing ligaments; C, synovial membrane; D, articular cartilage, articular disc, fatty pads, bursae, flattened disc that contains synovial fluid, functions to reduce friction. So here you can see that bursae which contains synovial fluid. So if it will rupture, so when it will rupture, when it can be suppressed or squeezed by the bones, in that condition inflammation will develop, and it is also called as bursitis. If inflammation of this bursa, it is a sac-like structure which contains the synovial fluid. It is also the condition when we are having arthritis. So here you can see is the ligaments which attach two bones together. Above this also there is one patella. Patella also connected with the two ligaments which are connected with from upper side to our femur and lower side to our tibia. Here you can see this is part of joints, how they are connected. This is the glenoid cavity, this is the hyaline cartilage, this is a tendon which connects our bone to our muscles. This is the subacromial bursa. Factors influencing joint stability: the bone, First factor is the bone. So bone is having major issue regarding the joint stability. If your bones are deminerated, means the minerals levels are low. So after the some age, when we are having less hormonal level in our body due to the testosterone, estrogen, they are maintaining the mineralization in your bones. And after the certain age, when the loss of hormones or hormone level is going to be decline, in that case the demineralization will occur, and due to that demineralization the osteoporosis condition will be there, and it will affects on our joints. Next is ligament. If the ligament will be damaged, either the ligament is going to be damaged by accidents or after the age or due to some movement it has been damaged, so in that condition also it will affect your joints. And next, muscle. If muscle weakness is there or nerve supply to our muscle if they are weak or due to some conditions, like for example if you are having the disease like Huntington disease, or we are having the tremors, Parkinson disease, so in that condition also it will affect on the stability of our joints. Thanks a lot. So in this fashion, students, we have discussed the joints in all the aspects, what are the types of joints, how they are working, and which joint is available at which location, and what is their function, and how they are doing the articulations. I think you understood the whole scenario which we have discussed today. So if you have any queries, you can ask with me. So then, bye.